Yeah, thank you very much. Chair, I think now the counting is only starting. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at the protection of endangered species and wider biodiversity in traditional, complementary, and indigenous medicine product preparations. I want to start with clearing the paradigm. I have practically a different paradigm which I want to show to the attention of the chair. That in my paradigm as a traditional spiritualist, I view plants as spiritual beings, not just as medicines or chemicals, where plants have personality, they have alliances, where they align with our ancestors, they have voice, and plants communicate to us through dreams, signs, intuitions, and body sensations. They have key functions. They have a logical contextual relevance. They have ethical and practical rules of applications. And their efficacy depend on right relationships, right timing, and the right context. With that worldview, it becomes a bit difficult to fit in the modern worldview, but I'll try. Endangered species and wider biodiversity, we need to regulate the products, co-govern the ecosystems, knowledge, and livelihoods. We need to monitor and regulate cross-border trade of endangered species. Endangered or species are categorized as endangered to the extent of being extinct, where commercial trade is prohibited, or endangered where you need special permits for export, or threatened where their trade is controlled. With that in mind, there are two overlapping worlds. We have the sacred community-driven world where harvesting is seasonal, and if something is restricted, then substitution is provided, and also where taboos play a significant role in the endangered species. And we also have the commercial world where bags of dried plants, powders, move across borders. And to us, that's where the danger is. In practice, most plant-based medicines move through informal traders, open markets with no traceability. And that's where the danger is. Lack of traceability of the plants, of the products. The structural gaps are that biodiversity is threatened more by harvesting methods and market dynamics. The dangers are when a plant is prohibited, it is then in black markets. And there is no way the black markets are monitored. It becomes even more dangerous because black market products are quite expensive. When they are just restricted or endangered without providing alternatives, you have done nothing. The best way would be this plant is prohibited, but in the process, we can use these alternatives. But if you have not provided alternatives, you have not done much. Currently, the common species are threatened when commercialization grows. And where we are, commercialization is growing. So we don't have a safe species of plant. And now what we need to really embed in our regulation is the indigenous ecological knowledge systems, where seasonal calendars, secret sites values, rotational harvesting, and substitutional rules apply. Why does all this matter? Biodiversity and contamination is another issue for the product. Most ecosystems are already under pressure. We are just taking our time to realize it, but the pressure is high, and to the extent that it's unbearable. Many of our herbs grow in contaminated soils and waters. That is another danger. For us who are in spirituality, these herbs, when they are exposed to herbicides, factory residues, and hospital waste, our spiritual sensitivities within these plants is detected earliest. So we need to integrate biodiversity and contamination into our regulations. Otherwise, we shall lose the species we depend on if we don't, and also we shall compromise safety, quality, and efficacy. These contaminations really change the plant chemistry, where efficacy is affected, chronic toxicity are engaged. But now, for me, what's most important, the spiritual properties of the plants are affected. Meaning, when the plants have got contaminated by the residues, we cannot communicate easily with the plant. The plant communication capacity is endangered. We cannot, because there is a way as spiritualists, we feel the energy of the plant. When it is contaminated with residues, the capacity to sense its energies is also compromised. So, and this, if spirituality is utilized in this capacity, we can easily detect plants that are endangered in another aspect of contamination, other than physical non-existence. So, for biodiversity to align with the WHO framework, we should have proof of sustainable sourcing, harvesting methods, and ecological impact. If we were to present a product, those aspects should also be attached. We should create dynamic monitoring for common species under market pressure, localized pathways for wild collectors, and also joint oversight. And this is significant, where we are having joint oversights with Ministry of Health, Environment, Wildlife, and indigenous societies of healers. Anything banned because the species is endangered, we should have legal substitute plans. We should also have cultivation and domestication support. Almost lastly, formal technical compliance. We should move from formal technical compliance to stewardship, where products are safe because our ecosystems and the communities that sustain them are also safe. Let us not see biodiversity as a quality marker. This is where I'm saying spirituality becomes handy at a level where we can easily detect changes in a plant even before chemical constitutions are tested. And we use a basis of international trust within African TCIM. The practical steps for the region to draft biodiversity safety regulatory framework for the East African region, to develop moderator and inspector questions that explicitly test for conservation, contamination, and community stewardship. That aspect should be underlined. We should pilot a regional plant sustainable protocol, which is linked to WHO, CBC, Nagoya, African, and also African biodiversity strategies. Most important of all, thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Dr. Sikagia, for keeping the time and for touching such an important topic. Well, I am left with not enough time, and most of the things which I wanted to share, they are already known to the audience by this time. So I'll quickly wind up and run through some certain slides which are repetitive in nature. So basically, this is regarding giving an overview of the opportunities for regional regulatory cooperation and partnerships along with WHO reference documents which are about to come in the next couple of years. So first of all, didn't get an opportunity to greet you with a photograph from Geneva. So greetings from the diplomatic city of the world or diplomatic capital of the world. Beautiful view